This is 13 Minutes. I'm Elliot Reeves. My guest today is Liam McKelvie. Liam, it's brilliant to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. How are you keeping?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Just trying to keep myself as busy as I possibly can be during times like these.
Yeah, quite right. So, Liam, if we can start by just hearing a little bit about yourself, your background, your bio, if you like, and we'll take things from there.
Yeah, I'll give you the quick story because if I give you the long story, we'll be here all week. Yeah, it's the day before my second birthday, I fell ill with a hybrid of meningitis and sepsis, known as meningococcal septicemia, which is a bit of a tongue twister.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was quite severe. My family noticed a rash on my tongue, and after that, they took me to the hospital in Dundee, where I'm from, and they couldn't deal with it in Dundee because it was so severe. So they put me in an ambulance, took me through to Glasgow. And by the time we arrived in Glasgow, the doctors claimed that it was the worst case they had seen in years, if not decades. So they said that any chance of survival was probably non-existent. And they said if I did survive, I would probably be so severely brain damaged I probably wouldn't be able to see, speak, or hear.
Mm-hmm.
But the way meningococcal septicemia works is that it starts at the fingertips and the toe tips, and it blocks and clots the blood to stop the flow getting in, and it gradually makes its way up the limbs towards the vital organs, at which point it will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not there's not really many things that you could do to stop this. But one of the things that you could do in an attempt to stop it, it's not guaranteed to work. But they suggested amputating all four limbs, and that's what they did. They amputated the left arm above the elbow, the right arm through the elbow, and both legs below the knee. And thankfully, it did the trick. I'm still here to tell the story. So within I think it was a few days later, they brought me back to consciousness, and they were unsure of whether there was going to be any brain damage. And miraculously, within a few days, they realised that my mind seemed to be fully intact. I was communicating no problem, just
Mm-hmm.
as I was before. And yeah, so that basically, a couple of months in 1998 basically defined the rest of my life from that moment. So yeah, throughout my entire life, I've had to adapt to what life has thrown at me. And I've had high moments, I've had low moments, I've been all over the shop. Life's like a roller coaster anyway, but I would argue even more so when you're missing four limbs. But yeah, it's now my purpose is I'm primarily a speaker, and what I do now is I speak to other people and encourage them to kind of push themselves through their own difficulties, kind of stand as an example to say, look, do you know what? I've had my body torn limb for limb quite literally, and I'm in a situation now where I can look after myself independently, where I can operate my own career. I can write, draw, feed myself, drink, look after myself in every way necessary. And I just want to kind of stand as an example to the world that, you know what, you can push for more, you can push for better, but you've
Yeah.
just got to take that leap of faith yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My first thought is I know about meningitis and sepsis because I know Corinne Hutton, and that's what she
Mm.
had, and she had to lose her legs and hands as well. But it's like, I think the way that you deal with this is absolutely incredible and so inspirational. So I can't say enough positive about the work that you do, man. It's absolutely awesome.
Thank you, thank you.
Like, I don't. I'm really conscious that I don't want to seem as though I sound insensitive, because that's not the intention at all. But I suppose, like, you never knew what it was like to have limbs in a way, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. I I think one of the I've kind of changed my mindset here on how I look at my own life, and I recognise I'm grateful for what happened to me. I'm grateful that happened so early in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you hear about people who lose their limbs later on, perhaps into adulthood, and they have that comparison. they have an ability to look at how life was 2, 3, 4 years ago and
Mhm.
realise that things that they took for granted, they're now struggling to do. Perhaps it takes them years to learn how to, perhaps they never learn at all. And it
Yeah.
could be basic, just everyday tasks. Whereas I've not got that comparison. I can't remember anything before probably 3 or 4 years old. So in my mind, as far as I'm concerned, I've been like this forever. And there's no plan B as well. I
Mhm.
think one of the reasons as well I've overcome most of the obstacles that have been thrown at me by my disability. I think one of the reasons I've overcome them so well is the fact that there's no way out. It's not like I can wake up one day and just take a day off. It's every single day I am disabled, and every single day I need to overcome whatever difficulties I'm presented with. And I believe that's the case with many people in life. It's not just people who are disabled. I feel that people like to kind of opt out of things, kind of take a cop out, kind of pull
Yeah.
back from things. Oh, do you know what? I'll just do it a different way. But
Mhm.
sometimes, if you're actually forced to do something in a certain way, that's the best thing for you because you learn and adapt. There's no way to kind of squeeze yourself out of it.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So tell me, Liam, how have you been managing yourself during this lockdown period? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy?
Yeah, to start off with, it was I don't want to be harsh on myself and call it a disaster, but it was close to a disaster. It's going into the lockdown, I was working 12 hours. I think I said on a live call the other day that I actually cracked the code on how to be a speaker probably a month before the lockdown. I finally realised who to speak to, who would be interested in me, how to get in touch with them. And yeah, I'd been doing that for a month. I got myself to the point I was working in 10 or 12 hour shifts. And then all of a sudden the lockdown hit and the rug
Oh,
was basically pulled from under me. And my work day dropped to basically nothing. And I'd started to spend all of my time watching TV. Quite a lot of us, I think, have probably been doing that. But
yeah.
yeah, essentially a month, maybe a month and a half after that, I realised that the world kind of adapts, just like I adapted to my disability. The world adapts to coronavirus,
Mhm.
and a lot of speakers were moving their stuff online. And I realised that's an opportunity for me. I've got to kind of pull my finger out, pardon the pun, and kind of adapt to what's been thrown at me once again. And yeah, so now I offer an online service where I basically do an online call just like this with
Mhm.
organisations and associations just focused on overcoming challenges and difficulties such as the coronavirus or a disability.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Good work. Think, thinking on your feet, as it were.
Yeah, there's another one.
Pardon the pun. In what way
Us
do
should
you
go
think?
into comedy.
Say that again.
The two of us should go into comedy.
I think so. Um, in what way do you think the world might start to change as a result of what's happening just now?
I think it's actually a test on everybody's resilience. I think I don't want to sound like I'm sort of judging people, but I think the world as a whole, I think millennials, especially, so people born from like 1980 to about the time I was born, get a lot of stick for being too soft, not resilient enough, a bit entitled.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think this whole coronavirus thing has actually been a lesson to us all in a way that sometimes life does. I, I don't want to say it attacks you, but to be fair, that's probably not far off the description. This is
Yeah.
almost an attack on people, and it's you have to adapt and build a bit of resilience. So I reckon going forward, when things do go back to relative normalcy, whatever that looks like,
Mhm.
are going to be a bit more resilient. They are going to be able to look back at this time and see how they adapted and how they pushed themselves to do things that were beyond their comfort zone. That turned out that they ended up developing skills within this time period.
Mhm.
An example of that, I've developed the skill of moving my entire career online and speaking to people through a camera. And that's something I wasn't massively comfortable with before the virus.
Yeah.
Whereas kind of it's pushed me to do it. And again, it comes to the whole that having no plan B, you kind of just get on with it. And
Mhm.
eventually, through repetition of a certain task, you eventually learn to create new skills for yourself. So as a whole, I think the world will be substantially more resilient and just able to bend to whatever is thrown at them.
Yeah. How would you personally like to see the world change?
Just like that, to be honest,
Hmm.
I do like a lot of what I talked about even before the virus was resilience was actually having to. So, for example, as an amputee who's lost both feet, I walk on prosthetic legs.
Hmm.
And throughout my entire life, I have had to learn to walk on multiple pairs of legs. And that takes a lot of willpower and determination. It's not easy. Every new pair of legs, believe it or not, is a new challenge. And it's just it's staying resilient. It's just kind of forcing yourself to do something that is actually quite uncomfortable, that you know is beneficial for you in the long term. And I reckon, yeah, that I'd like to see that in the world where people start to stick at things, they start to kind of continue to push themselves through a little bit of difficulty instead of just kind of giving up at the first hurdle and saying, that's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. What advice or insight would you give to anyone that was struggling at the moment?
To be honest, I don't think we should be too harsh on ourselves at this moment in time. I think, like, as far as I'm aware, there hasn't been really a generation alive today that's dealt with a pandemic or nothing of this severity that to the point that the whole world's actually gone into lockdown.
Yes. Yeah.
And naturally, when you come across unexpected challenges or things that nobody's really dealt with before, it's going to be like hitting a speed bump at full speed. It's going to be quite difficult. So I think there really needs to be a bit of leeway in people's minds to say, look, it is going to take a bit of time to adapt to this. It's not going to be ideal. There are going to be struggles that you struggle to overcome. And I don't think we should be too harsh and beat ourselves up about that. I told you myself, I took a month and a half, probably closer to 2 months, just vegetating watching TV.
Yeah.
And in the long term, that's probably not in my best interests. However, it's after taking that time off, it gave me a bit of clarity to actually then move myself forward, to actually then realise that, look, I could be doing something instead of shouting at myself from day one saying you need to do something. Yeah, I think my advice to people is just give yourself just that little bit of leeway, that bit of slack.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Liam, this has been so much fun. I have to say, I've really, really enjoyed speaking with you. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you could find me at zero. Do you know what? I'm staying with family at the moment, and I forgot to bring my T-shirt. Usually, I just show
Oh, okay.
the T-shirt. I can't do that today. Yeah, you could find me at Zero Limits, either on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I keep telling myself I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I've got one, but there's nothing on it yet on my website. And Zero Limits is spelled ZEROLIMB for Bravo,
Hmm.
ITS. So it's like zero limits. So
Yes.
I'll send the links across to you, and you could perhaps put them in
Yeah, of course.
the description.
Sure thing. Well, Liam, I just want to say again a massive thanks for coming on. I've really, really thoroughly enjoyed speaking, and keep doing what you're doing, my friend.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Look after yourself, Liam.
Bye.
Cheers.